Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an angle to the race we might look back on later as having been the path to finding the winner. Well, Saturday racing this week in Hong Kong, and just a reminder to be followed by a Monday night meeting, so a very quick backup this weekend. But we're looking at the Saturday meeting at Sha Tin. The first race we're going to look at is race 6, where our winning factor is the claim. Now, this is a fairly standard Class 4. Certainly some runners of interest here are dropping in class. Satirical Glory down to Class 4 for the first time with Zach Burton getting aboard. Smiling Collector, he's a last start winner in Class 4 and is back to that grade after some unlucky runs in Class 3. Master of Fortune is racing well, as is Red Hair King, and Northern Beast is a lightly raced horse who didn't have the best of luck at his latest appearance. And it's Red Hair King and Northern Beast where I'm looking for the winner. So let's have a look at what they've been doing. First of all, Northern Beast. Now this is race 712. He's in gate 13 with the pink colours and begins okay, but there's quite good pace early here, and Hugh Bowman is in no hurry, lets him drift back to where he can get close to the fence, and that turns out to be last. Now, often that isn't a great idea, but it wasn't a bad place to be with the good speed on here. In fact, the eventual winner is also back there just ahead of him in orange and blue colours on the rail, and Bowman follows Go-Go 16 for much of the race. That is until rounding the home turn, where he comes around Go-Go 16, and while Go-Go 16 stays in, they both get held up for clear running. The more experienced horse, Go-Go 16, well, he picked up pretty well after being held up, and he runs on to win. And Northern Beast, I think inexperience showed he couldn't really get going again. Now for Red Hair King, we're going to look at his latest appearance too, a notable, if for no other reason than that was the day we had the first heavy track in Hong Kong for 21 years. In fact, 21 years almost to the day. And we don't know whether that helped or hindered Red Hair King, but under any circumstances, this was a terrific performance. From gate 4, he's in yellow colours, and Matt Chadwick has him away well, and in the first couple all the way. But as we see on the heat map, there was plenty of work to be done for horses on the speed. Good solid pace most of the way, and in fact in mid-race you see the winner Secret Vision in the red and purple colours on the rail midfield, and he's struggling to go the pace at that stage, but eventually it's the leaders who are struggling to go the pace because they've done all that early work, and Red Hair King gets to the front, keeps on bravely, but he tires to be run over late by 3 horses coming from midfield or worse, while the other leaders with him finish towards the rear. So that's a really tough effort from the 3-year-old with a big weight there, and Tony Cruz has taken a claim on him this week with Angus Chung, and I think that's going to be critical. On the map, I think we'll see him prominent again with the apprentice Angus Chung, but perhaps taking a sit this time and not doing as much of the donkey work, as he'll have the Glories, Satirical and Oscar, looking to lead from their wider gates, and perhaps even Prosecco poking up near the inside. In fact, it looks a race where the pace will be true, and that will certainly suit Northern Beast as well. He's drawn better this time, so he might be closer in running, but I think Red Hair King is still going to be in front of him. But the tip for me in race 6 is Red Hair King. His winning factor, the claim. Now, I don't think there's a great deal between these two horses, both fairly lightly raced, but with that claim and the positive tactics that will certainly go with it, I think Red Hair King is going to have a tactical advantage by being in front of Northern Beast. The other race I want to take a look at is the final race, race 10, and our winning factor here, the map. Now this is a 1400 metre class 3, quite a few chances, and we've got Winner Method racing well. Hoss is a horse who has strung together some very good form this season for Jamie Richards. Hyper Dragon Ball and Storm Legend are recent winners of similar races. Superb Boy tries this distance for the first time, and that might suit him, while Flamingo Trillion has won well lately in Class 4. But for me, the key chances here are Flamingo Trillion and Hoss. And as luck would have it, they raced last time on the same day, 2 hours apart, over the same course and distance, so that should allow us to make a good comparison. However, they were very differently run races. So let's have a look first at the Class 4, and this is Flamingo Trillion, race 7:16, and he's in light blue and yellow colours, gate 11, jumps well, and Derek Lung has him pressing forward early in a group of horses disputing the front running role. Now, you can see on the heat map these leaders are all working, especially in the quick second section on the map. But the most disadvantaged of them is Flamingo Trillion, as he's not just running fast, but doing it out wide on the track and exposed. So when he turns into the straight, he should be easy meat for any horses who've done less work in running behind him, but after briefly looking in some trouble, he keeps digging deep and finding to hold off the finishers. Now, an excellent win there for a 3-year-old who clearly has some more to give. But in a later race that day, we saw Hoss. Now, he'd won 3 of his previous 4 starts at Happy Valley, and he moved to Sha Tin to take on 1,400 metres for the first time in race 720. Now, he also drew wide, gate 11, green and dark blue with a yellow cap, and jumps well for Zach Purton here, but there is plenty of horse flesh under him early, and he has no option but to steady back so he isn't caught wide and settles in midfield. But unlike the early pressure we saw in the Flamingo Trillion race, off the speed was not the place to be in this one. Very slow early sections meant the leaders were full of running in the second half of the race, and down the straight, note how difficult all horses are finding it to make any ground in the stretch, even chasing the 100-to-1 leader. Now, eventually Storm Legend, with 114 pounds in the saddle, is able to get to him, but Hoss, with 131 pounds on board, has to be content with 5th. Now we look at our 2 contenders going into this race, and this time Flamingo Trillion, he drops from 131 pounds to 118, while Hoss, he drops from 131 pounds to 129, so still plenty of weight on board. But I've made the winning factor the map, and that's because it's very unkind again to Flamingo Trillion. When we look at the map, Flamingo Trillion, well, he's likely to have to cover ground once more from the wide gate. Now, this time he'll be doing it with a light weight, which will certainly help, but in a tougher grade. Meanwhile, Hoss moves into gate 6. I think that little bit of gate speed that we saw from him last time, and which he had also shown once or twice over 1,200 metres at Happy Valley too, places him in a more advantageous position on Saturday. But the tip from me in race 10 is Hoss, his winning factor, the map. Now, I don't think there's a great deal between these 2 horses once you factor in the weights, but Flamingo Trillion, he's going to have to do it hard again, and Hoss is the one getting the better trip. That might just give him the edge. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Good luck on Saturday. We'll see you next time.